What's going on, guys? So we got some big news. We are going to get something for the Jeep. Well, a few things for the Jeep. So stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. I got the truck warmed up. It's ready to go. We just got to make a little trip out and pick them up. All right, just got back from the store. Can you see what we got? Yes, we got some new tires. So we're sticking with the Goodyear MTRs. I really like the tires. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people make fun of them, but I like the tires. I think they work really well. And we went up a size, so we are going to 42s. So we're gonna see how this works, but it's time to unload them. Let's compare them real fast to the 40s that are on the Jeep. All right, that's a quick little comparison for you. So that's 42 versus a 40. Now remember, the 40s are, I've had them on the Jeep for about 3 years. So there's not much tread left on them. So they do look a lot bigger than that. And also when we go to put the 42s on, they will shrink down when you put air in them because the sidewalls will expand and causing the crown to come down. So that's one more thing to look for, is they're gonna shrink probably an inch. Yep, but I am completely stoked to get these on. They are huge. I am beyond excited to try them out. Like I said, I like the 40s. I've had this tire size in a 35, I think a 33, a 40, and now the 42s. All right, so right now we got all the tires off the Jeep. So we have to do the time-consuming task to get these all unmounted and taken care of. First thing first, I am not a professional. This is very dangerous. This is just for entertainment purposes only. I cannot stress that enough. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, don't do this because you can get seriously hurt. So what you want to do is get a valve stem removal tool. I don't care if you don't have one, go to this parts store, pick one up. They're $5. Pick one up and remove all the cores of the valve stems. That way you know there's absolutely no air in it. So you do that, safety first, right? So you do that, get all the air out of it. Next, we're just gonna lay this down. I'm gonna use the jack to start popping the back bead off. You wanna keep this front ring on. That way the tire has something to push up against. If not, it'll just push up against nothing. For me personally, using a heel lift jack is the best way to do it in terms of safety and how accurate you can get it to the bead. Also, you will want to put wheel chucks on the front of your truck so it doesn't roll away. All right, so you just want to take it down a couple inches. You see the bead of the tire right there. That's kind of taken care of. So we're just going to do this all the way around the tire, maybe 5 different locations. Okay, you can see right now it's completely unbeaded on the back end. See all the play? You want to go in there and look at it? See all the play? So now we just have to take the ring off on the front side. And when you do this, just take it easy. Just take half the threads out. So just a couple clicks, take them out. Just let all the bolts come up kind of at the same time. Because right here you can break a bolt pretty easy if you get it all cattywampus. After going around a few times, slowly bring them out. You can now pull them all the way out. You got all the bolts removed, your rings off. Now we just have to get the rest of the tire off. Alright. So depending on your tire manufacturer, depends on how tight this bead actually sits on this little lip in there. And the Goodyears, at least these ones, they are extremely tight and they are a pain to put on. So sometimes you can see guys just rip that out by hand, but I'm gonna put it on our 5-gallon bucket and push it off. That's it for that part. So now we just got to get that bead out from in front of the seal. So we're just gonna get some Windex or get whatever you want. I'm just gonna spray the whole inside to help us out. So that will help us out. Now, just get our tire spoons, or if you just have a regular pry bar, you can use that. And you just gotta work your way all the way around it. Once you hear that pop, the wheel should be kind of free. You should be able to wedge it out of there. I lied. Alright. And that is how you dismount a beadlock. It's just like mounting them, it's a lot of hard work. So I have...
Very time consuming.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. I have 4 more to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the other 4 done. All right, guys, now we're gonna show you guys how to mount a beadlock. So first thing first, what do you need, right? So obviously you need your wheel, otherwise you're not doing anything. You need your valve stems, and depending if you want to do any kind of balancing on your tires, we always just use the beads. They seem to work out really well for us. You need your valve stem tool, and then a nice tub of anti-seize, your ring, and all your bolts. Oh, yeah. And your tire. First thing first, take your tire down. You're going to want to set it down whatever way the tire is recommended to set down. These are not directional, but you want this side with the 2 big lugs, you want that to be on the outside of the wheel. So we're going to put the outside of the wheel down and put a piece of cardboard on it so you don't scratch your wheels. Then you take just Dawn dish soap or any kind of lubricant that you think will work, and then you're just going to spread it all over the bead. I'm going to make it nice and kind of thick. The thicker it is, the better. It's not going to hurt the tire having any of this lubricant on it. Then you're going to take your valve stems. You want to put a little bit of dish soap or lube on your valve stems too. It just helps everything. So just put a little bit of that on there. Take your tool. Screw it on. And you don't need a tool to do this, but it's a lot better if you didn't want to buy the tool. The tool's like $10. So if you bought beadlocks, you can afford the tool. So you can use like a pair of pliers, but you can hurt the valve stem or mess up the wheel and stuff if you do that. So with these KMCs, they have 2 valve stems on them, which is kind of nice. So put the second one on and just pry it up, just like this. Till you hear it pop, but then it fits, it's seated right on there. Next, take your wheel. Make sure you have everything right on the tire, however you want to mount it. And you're gonna want to put the beadlock side in first. So let's try this. Then you just kind of work it. I've seen people jump on them and everything. That never works for me. And I'm not the smallest person. And this is probably a really good way to roll your ankle. So what I just do is, I have tire spoons. So if you don't have tire spoons, just get them. I'm sure you can use like a pry bar or something also. But so just take your tire spoon and just work your way on it.
Here it goes.
Here it is. It's down there. All right, next, before we forget, we're gonna grab your beads. Man, I'm breathing heavy. Just grab your beads. When you grab them, they come in a pack like this, and then inside it there's gonna be another bag. Just go ahead and throw that whole bag in there. Once the tire starts spinning with centrifugal force, it'll end up breaking the bag. Just take it and just drop it in there. Get your 5-gallon bucket, and you just set everything right on that bucket. The reason for this is to let it relax. So we want the outside of the tire to relax, so it'll actually fall down on it, and it's easier to get them on. So something that we learned through trial and error is having these kinds of clamps and a big board, which is behind Ashley's.
Big board and those clamps.
Big board and these clamps. So we're gonna take this big board, we're gonna set it right on that side. Take the clamps, clamp everything down. Then we're going to take this other board and just set it kind of directly across with another clamp. The one thing is, it seems like every tire manufacturer, and I'm sure every wheel manufacturer, is a lot different. So depending on the wheel tire combo you go with, you might not have to do this. The moment you put it on there, it might just line up and fit on that wheel perfectly. But for our combination, we have to work a little bit harder. What we're using the boards for is to apply a downward force on the tire, so the bead will stay in the bead seat. So I'll show you guys, let's bring them in, show them the bead seat. So when you're doing this, you need this. This is the bead of the tire. The bead seat's down there. So it goes around this little ring, and you don't want any of the tires sticking out. So right here, it's fitted right, because you can see the bead sitting down in the bead seat. But right here, the bead's sticking up. So what we have to do is go around with screwdrivers and just slowly bring it in and just go about it that way. So right here, we're just working it through, and eventually, when we get on the other side and it starts getting real close, I'll need Ashley's help with the screwdriver with pushing these on. now we're gonna need Ashley's help. Here it's really nice to have a second set of hands. That way they can hold the bead down as you start to work its way across. I hope you guys can see that, but that's all we have left to seat it. So hopefully we're just about there. All right, so we just got everything seated right. So you don't see any of the rubber coming out on those edges. It's all seated down in there. So seat it very nicely down. So what I'm gonna do now is just take a little rubber mallet and go ahead and start smacking that bead to have it seat down even a little bit more.
Go ahead, give some big whacks, you're not gonna hurt anything.
All right, right there, it's completely seated. So we're just gonna take our clamps off. And then we just gotta get the rock ring. So before you put your rock ring on, just take some of your Dawn dish soap or tire assembly lube or whatever. And you just rub it right on that bead, all the way around it. So what this will help you with is when you put this ring on there, it will slide. It won't stick and bind up, which could cause you to break a bolt. So once that's down with these KMCs, what I like to do is how they came assembled is put this KMC piece, or this KMC piece, in line with the valve stems. So that's what, that way when you're filling up your tires or whatever, you just have to look for that KMC, and that's where your valve stems are. All we have to do now is put all the bolts in and tighten everything up. So that's what the ANSCs is for, is you're gonna wanna put it on each one of those bolts. And I like to start in line with that KMC, and we're just gonna start it with 4, and we're gonna start torquing it down with 4. Well, not torquing it down, just starting to assemble it, I guess. And you want them to go across from each other, because this part is very important. You don't wanna bring it down any crooked at all. You wanna bring it down nice and straight. Then once you got your 4 in there, you can start sucking the ring down just a little bit. You're not torquing it, or you're not putting a lot of force on it. You just want to bring it nice down, nice and easy. And you just work it across from each other in a nice little star pattern. So once you have those 4 in, we're just going to drop in another 4, and we're going to tighten those other 4 down too. Well, not really tighten, just somewhat tighten.
Snug 'em.
Yeah, snug them up. As we're bringing this ring down, what you're going to see is it's going to be getting close to the wheel. So yeah, as you can see, this ring will end up touching the wheel as once it's all tight. So that's how you know you have a good clamping on the bead. Just take an impact, a small impact, it's just a 3/8. Put it on the lowest setting and just run the rest of those ones in until you hear it do a couple, ugga-dugs, and then just stop. Then once you got all that done, you get out your torque wrench and you torque it down. Remember, if you don't want to, don't really use this. If you have a Milwaukee ratcheting wrench, use one of those. And just make sure if you use this, make sure it's on the lowest setting. And then you grab your torque wrench and you just go around and around. Actually, you're gonna actually start with your star pattern. And set your torque wrench to the spec that your wheels say. Each manufacturer is gonna be a little bit different. Each of these bolts are dependent on each other. So if this bolt spins, when you tighten it down, this bolt will get loose. Does that make sense? So like, then when you tighten this one down, this bolt will get loose and it just goes forward and forward. So if you take the first couple and you go a little bit past that torque spec, you're gonna be okay because it's really not spec'd out there. But when you're going around, if you have one of these bolts actually spins while you're torquing it, and it's not torqued down properly, you need to go all the way back around. So if this one moves, go around. If the next one moves, you gotta go all the way around. All right, so we just got everything torqued down. Now we just have to put air in it to seat the back bead. So what we're doing is this back bead right here has to get seated right there. So the only way to do it is put air in it. And this is probably, it's not probably, this is the scary part of the whole wheel assembly, because you can get seriously hurt if you don't have that ring torqued down. So the best thing to do is grab a nice tire inflator with a long hose. So this is my little tire inflator. It has a nice little decently long hose on it. Spin it to here, grab the one up on top, clamp it down, and this hose, this long hose, is so your hand doesn't get in the way. And when you're filling it up, don't let anybody stand in front of that ring. So what we're gonna do is just come back here and we're gonna watch this bead seat. There it goes. It should pop when it's fully seated. There it goes. There it is. It pops. And that is it. So I'm just going to inflate it the rest of the way while I got everything hooked up. But that is how you take beadlocks off and put beadlocks on. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Leave comments. I want to know what kind of tires you guys like to run. If you guys don't like the Goodyear tires, let me know. And let me know what you think my next tire should be 3 years down the road when these ones are worn out. Alright guys, thanks for watching. You guys are the best. Hope to see you guys all on the trail one day.